synthetic, what does synthetic mean? Like fake. Yeah, good. Okay, because what we do learn in co-taught is called long division and synthetic division. We do both. Okay, long division's not fun. If you remember from way back when, you don't have to write this down, but if you did 258 divided by 2, you would do this crazy long division. Well, that's really what you're going to be doing, but with a lot of letters and numbers. Okay, but we're going to be doing something called synthetic. It's the fast route for it. So this is kind of like a nice little guide for you if you want to go back in your notes. It kind of tells you exactly how to do this process. But I think the easiest way to do it is to show you how to do it and then keep practicing it. So use polynomial synthetic division to divide. So you have this big polynomial divided by x minus 5. You don't have to write this down, but this is basically what you're doing. X cubed minus 9x squared plus 8x plus 60, all divided by x minus 5. Now that looks kind of crazy. You don't have to write that down. I was just showing you. That's what it's asking you to do. Now that's a lot of steps if you were to do it in long division, but we're going to do synthetic division. It's a lot easier. And if you're good with math, like 5 plus 8 and 8 times 5, like it's going to be a pretty easy method, and usually a lot of people like this method. Okay, the very first step, we're going to find the 0 that we're working with. So x minus 5, you need to find the 0. When I say find the 0, that means what? What I plug into x minus 5 would get me 0. 5, right? And I'm going to set that up for you so that you know how to do it or look back on it. X is 5. You need to find that 0. Now remember, that was like your x-intercepts. I like today and I like tomorrow because it's something that you haven't learned before, whereas factoring, you've learned it with other teachers, so it's nice that I get to teach you something new that you haven't seen. Okay, so this number is going to be written out what we call synthetic division. We have like this little L thing. Again, it looks weird at first, and it's strange at first, but I promise you, after a couple times, you're like, okay, this is really easy. We write that 5 on the outside. We write whatever that 0 is. Now, what you write on the top here are the numbers that are in front of your variables. So, for example, you would write 1, -9, 8, and 60. Do not write the letters. So 1, -9, 8, and 60. Now, it's a very easy process. The very first thing that you do is you bring down the first number. You don't do anything with it. You just bring it down. When you are on the outside of this L, you do multiplication. When you're on the inside, you add. So 5 times 1 gets me what? What's 5 times 1? 5. Add down. -9 plus 5. Negative. Good. Again, when we're on the outside, we multiply. 5 times -4 gets me -20. Add down. 8 minus 20 gets you -12. One more time. Multiply when you're on the outside. 5 times -12 gets you negative what? Think of a clock. Yeah, I heard someone start to say it. You can use a calculator if you need to. 60. Add straight down and you get 0. I'm going to put a little smiley face in my 0. Because when you get 0, that means that this is a factor of this. Now, was it going to be a factor again? 8 divided by 2 is 4 with no remainder. Okay? That's a factor. The 2 is a factor. So that means x minus 5 is indeed a factor, and you would see it on your graph. Very last step is just to figure out what this is going to be now. So I'm going to circle this guy. You always have to go down a power. So I started at x cubed. This guy is going to be x squared. Even put the 1 if you want. Go down a power. Minus 4x. Go down a power. Minus 12 with no remainder. And I'm done. Now again, that seemed probably super crazy and confusing. But once you get used to it, you're going to be like, this is the easiest thing ever. I'm telling you, I promise. Okay? So maybe make a note for yourself that we went down a power from x cubed so that you know like where that came from. I started at x cubed, but when you divide, think about that. When you do x cubed divided by x, you get x squared. There's a reason why it's going to go down a power. Okay. Now, again, that was weird. We'll do it again. And again, it'll get a lot easier as we go by. Now, use polynomial synthetic division. Same process. Here we go. The very first step was to figure out what makes this factor equal to 0. Remember, this is called a factor, and what we're going to solve right here is called a 0. So what does x equal in this case? Because what would you do to both sides? Positive 2, right? That's it. We okay there? Now this guy gets written on the outside of our L, and we use the coefficients. We use those numbers all the way out in front. We got -3, we got 1, we got -12, and we got -5. So I'm going to write those down. -3. You can even write like plus if you really want to. -12, -5. What was the first step we had to do when we did the division here? Yeah, we just brought it down. We didn't do really anything besides just literally copy it down. Now, again, multiply on the outside, add when you are in the inside. Multiply on the outside, add in the inside. 2 times -3 gets me, good, -6. Add down. 1 minus 6 gets me a negative, good. Multiply when you're on the outside. 2 times -5 gets me negative, good. Add when you're on the inside. -12 minus 10 gets me -22. Very good. Okay, remember they're both negative. 2 times -22 gets me negative. Very good. Add straight down when we get -49. Very good. Remember, add when you're in the inside, multiply when you're on the outside. Let's talk about the difference between these two. This one ended in a 0. This one did not. This one is a factor. This one is not. So, for example, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. That means 2 is not a factor because there is a remainder. Okay, so this guy tells me that it is not a factor. Okay, because that's your remainder. That guy at the very end is always your remainder. Now, if you remember from the last problem, whatever the power is, you go down 1. So am I going to have -3x cubed or -3x squared here? Good. Go down a power, -5x. Go down a power, -22. This guy is your remainder. So I'm just going to write remainder -49. It's okay just to write it like that. And you're done. Again, what did you just do? You want to think of it as like simple terms. 8 divided by 4 is 2. We just found 2. Like, I know it's crazy to think of that, but you did this divided by x minus 2, and you got this. Just like if you did 8 divided by 2 and you got 4. 4 is your answer. This is our answer when we divide. Go ahead and flip when you're ready. And do a couple more practices, and that's really all we're doing today. Okay. All right. Now, there is one little thing that I need to tell you about. When you do this, you need to make sure that all of your powers are represented. What I mean, you start at x cubed. We always kind of look at that guy first. Make sure that you have everything below that. So x squared, so the first power, and you have like a constant term. Do we have that? X cubed, x squared, nothing. Did I skip something? Was there something that was skipped from 3 to 0? I went 3 to 0. What did I miss?
You missed
What power? 3 to 0, what's missing? The 1, thank you. Okay, this you need to represent when you do it. If you don't realize it, you will cause yourself to make a mistake. It goes 3 to 1, 0. But the only way that we can do this to make it mathematically equivalent is to put a 0 there, right? Because 0 times anything is 0, and that means it doesn't exist. All right, now it's the same process. What is going to be my 0? X is equal to what? It's pretty easy now. -3, it's the opposite. So that gets written on the outside of my synthetic. Here we go. 8, 5, 0, 14. You need that 0, otherwise it doesn't work.
For the positive, is it always going to be 0? Or would it be 1?
It's because we were missing. So it's a good question. So this we're putting this in because we were missing x to the first power. We have to do what's called a placeholder to make sure that this process works. Okay, so because we were missing x to the first power, we have to put a 0 there. It's not really just because it's a plus. All right, the first step, bring down the 8. Here we go. Watch how fast this could be. Negative 3 times 8 gets me negative.
24.
And then 5 minus 24 gets me negative 19. Good. Negative 3 times negative 19 gets me a positive. What do you think?
7.
Well, that's the ending of it. What? That's 0.
1. 37.
Close.
38. 36.
What's 9 times 3?
27.
27. Okay, 27. And then 3 times 1 is 3. So what's 3 times 3 plus 2? 5. Okay, or use a calculator. Either one.
So you said like 3 times 9.
Yep. Whenever you're on the outside, you multiply. Whenever you're on the inside, you add. So now when you add straight down, you get 57. Negative 3 times 57 gets me a bigger number. Negative something.
Negative 3 times.
Yep, 57.
Oh,
Whenever you're ready. You guys need some help? Get a calculator. 100 and what? Very good. Add straight down, and you get negative something. Careful. 14 minus negative 171, or just 14 minus 171 gets me negative 157. Okay. Is this a remainder, or is this a factor? Is x plus 3 a factor of what we just did? Yes or no?
No.
No, because you have to get what in that little box in that remainder to be a factor? 0. Very good. Okay, now, what am I going to start with? 8x cubed or 8x squared?
8x squared.
Very good. Minus 19x plus 57 with a remainder of negative 157. Again, it's probably weird at first, but the more you do it, the faster you get at it and the better you get at it. It's not a lot of hard math if you have a calculator. Okay, you multiply, then you add down. You multiply, you add down. You multiply, you add down. It's the same process every time. Okay, let's do it again. All right, so now I got this guy. Now it's I'm gonna start, winging you off my support here. What's the first step when you do this problem? To find the 0. And what is the 0? Careful. 2. You have to do it where you set it equal to 0 and solve. Think about what it means to be a 0. If I put something here, it would become 0. Well, if I put 2 here, 2 minus 2 gets you 0. Whoops, just stay there. Okay, so now we do our synthetic. We write 2 on the outside. But remember, you have to check your powers. Now watch. Say it like out loud or in your head. 4, 2, 1, 0. Was there anything missing? What'd you say? 3. See that? 4, 2, 1, 0. I am missing 3. Okay, in order for this easy method to work, you have to recognize that. So I'm going to put this right here. Oop, my pen. It's dragging. Okay, I am missing. Okay, sorry, guys, it's really bad. I don't know what happened. I have to get my other pen. It's missing x cubed, so I have to put a 0 in front.
Is it the pen or is it?
It's the pen. All right. Okay, so it's missing 0 to the x, 0x cubed. So it's missing the x cubed. So we have to replace it with the 0 is what I'm saying. Sorry about that. My pen just went crazy. All right, so I have 1, 0, -4, -3, 6. Is there any part of that you don't understand you'd like me to go over? I'd be more than happy to. 1, 0, because it has to go in order. -4, -3, 6. Very first thing we do is we drop down that 1. Do we multiply or add when we are on the outside?
Multiply.
Multiply. So 2 times 1 gets me 2. 0 plus 2 gets me, 2 times 2 gets me 4. -4 plus 4 gets me 0. 2 times 0 gets me -3 plus 0 just gets me. And then 2 times -3 is just 6. Good, -6. Again, when you get 0 here, you should be excited or happy because it means it is a factor.
So would that be the remainder?
The remainder is 0, so that means it is a factor, just like how 2 is a factor of 4. Now, I'm going to circle this guy because he's important. Would I start at 1x to the 4th or 1x cubed?
X cubed.
Good. Go down a power, plus 2x squared plus 0x minus 3 with no remainder. Or you could have wrote it without the 0. Or you don't have to write this down if you don't want to. You could have wrote it like x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3. It doesn't matter. But like on a multiple choice, this would be gone because technically it doesn't exist. Okay, do the next one for your homework.
This one?
The very next one. Multiply, add down. Multiply, add down.